Hey there, good evening. Hi, Karen. Hi, Spock. I never know what to say sometimes with people's Instagram names. Good evening, welcome, Jessa Carter, the Peaceful Billionaire here. So I don't know if anyone happened to, hey Moaz, I don't know if anyone happened to catch the event. There's a post on both on my Facebook page and on my Instagram page. I am speaking this week at it's called the Business Amplifier. It's an event with Les Brown to grow and scale your business from like 10K to 100K a month. It's a free event. It's going on today. It started today. I happen to, I'm speaking at the event, but I'm not attending the entire event, but I happened to catch Les Brown live today when they were streaming on Facebook, and I happened to catch Les Brown, and I've heard Les speak before, but that man just blows my mind, blows me out of the water every time I hear him speak. So I just wanted to let you know that if you're interested in attending that free virtual event, or you can catch any parts of it, it's extremely valuable. If you can catch any part of it over the next few days. On my Instagram page, the link is there, so you can just go to in my bio and click on my link tree. The link is there. If you want to join, you're welcome to. There's no pressure. I just wanted to share because the part of it that I caught today was really incredible, and I will be speaking on Saturday afternoon, which I'm looking forward to. And this evening, what I have for you I'm so digging this opportunity, right, to unleash your inner billionaire. And I'm always talking about optimizing your mind for inevitable success. And I also am always talking about your mind as a $27 billion asset. So you have this $27 billion asset that you already own that has 27 billion kilowatts of power. And so how is it that you optimize and leverage this insanely valuable, insanely powerful asset, right? How do you leverage and optimize so that you're using 100% of this extraordinarily valuable and powerful asset to your advantage, right? To your advantage, to amplify your success, to amplify your wealth, right? And truly, when you really learn how to amplify and optimize it and leverage it, you can use it to create the change that you want to see in any aspect of your life. Now, I do primarily speak into it more from a money and a success and a financial freedom perspective, because those are areas that are very meaningful and passionate for me. But ultimately, when you're unleashing your inner billionaire, the frequency that brings and the evolution that happens as you're making these changes within yourself creates a ripple effect that has a positive effect on every single aspect of your life. So the change is going to be valuable across the board. And I've been throwing out a total of 10 ways to optimize and leverage 100% of this $27 billion asset that you already own, right? Your mind. And using that, right? So unleashing your inner billionaire, tapping into 100% of that $27 billion value that you're walking around within your head, and tapping into that 27 billion kilowatts of power. When you really think about it, it's almost mind-blowing when you think about that. That's how powerful and how valuable your mind is, and that it makes a whole lot of sense to pay attention to the thoughts that you're thinking, to the beliefs that you hold, to how you're feeling, and also how you're speaking. And so the tip wise, right? One of the tips that that I shared last week was eliminating the word TRY from your vocabulary. If you happen to catch that one, I'm spelling the word TRY. It's the word try, and I'm spelling it because I don't use the word. It's no longer part of my vocabulary. So just a quick recap on that. There is no TRY. You do or do not do. You choose to or choose not to. And I dive deep into the power and the neuroscience behind that shift. But super quick to touch on it. It's because your subconscious mind does not understand negative words. And so basically, if you say you're going to TRY to do something, it's just your brain just automatically stops and says, nope, no, thank you. I don't want that. And last night, the one I was tip 4, the one I was talking about 3. I lost count. I think tonight is 4. Last night was 3. I'm losing count, mixing up my days. Anyways, the order or the number of the tip is irrelevant. What's important is the tip itself. So last night I spoke though about shifting a powerful language shift of shifting using the words, saying I want, to I choose to have. And the reason for that is the word want or wanting still comes from a place of lack. So that is poverty-based thinking, which you definitely, if you're on a path for greater levels of success and greater levels of wealth, right? For me, I like to use the word unprecedented, right? Unprecedented levels of success, unprecedented levels of wealth. If you're on that path, I'm all about working smarter, not harder. Give me some yeses. Give me some yeses in the chat if you prefer to work smarter, not harder. Yes? Because there's a whole lot of hype out in the world, and I lived this for a very long time, right? That you have to work hard, you have to work hard. And I think to some degree, it's not that it doesn't take work. It's not that it doesn't take work, that it doesn't take dedication and focus, but I don't think it has to be hard. My perspective is let it be fun, let it be easy. Let it be fun, let it be easy. Because if it's not fun, it's not worth doing, and you're not going to be as consistent or persistent with it, right? And the reason for, and this is not even what I was going to talk about tonight, but it ties in with everything. And the thing is if you think something is going to be hard, it's going to be hard. Right? So if that's your perspective, right, that I have to work hard, grinding to the bone, like there's so many people out there grinding to the bone to get from point A to point B, and that perspective makes things harder than they have to be, right? So my perspective is always let it be fun, let it be easy. So how can I have fun while doing the things that I need to do? And letting it be easy and letting it be something that I enjoy. Because if you anticipate, if that's your perspective and your belief that it's going to be easy, then it's going to be easier. If your perspective and your belief is that it's going to be hard, it's going to be hard. So again, my goal and my intention is always to make things easier and faster for you, right? Thank you for that yes in the chat, right? Because again, the goal is work smarter, not harder. That has been my motto my entire life. It's really no surprise actually that I ended up in neuroscience, working in neurosurgery for 10 years, right? Having that perspective. I'm going to work smarter, not harder. Now, don't get me wrong. I did work hard. I did work very hard, actually, those first 6 years in my career in neurosurgery. And that was one of the things that I promised myself when I started out on my personal, professional, spiritual growth journey. That was one of the things that I promised myself, is that I was going to figure out how to build a successful business and a successful empire without that stress, without the overwhelm, and without the burnout, because I lived that life for so long. Those 60 to 80 hour work weeks for 6 years, burnout. And the joke, right? The joke for a lot of entrepreneurs, it's like, oh, I left my quote unquote 9 to 5. Now, mind you, I never had a 9 to 5. That was not my career path, but I left my 9 to 5 so that I can work 24/7 for myself. and when, depending on where you are, if you are an entrepreneur and depending on where you are in your business, that might be true. And in the beginning, sometimes you are putting in a lot of extra hours and a lot of extra work, but that doesn't mean it has to be hard, right? You can still let that be fun. You can still let that be easy, because that was the way, the way that I treated, to stay in alignment with this perspective. And I will circle back to the tip, but to stay in line with that perspective of letting it be fun, letting it be easy, and building a successful business without the stress, without the overwhelm, without the burnout, right? That was a promise that I made to myself. And that's not to say that I don't have moments of stress. I do have moments of stress. That's not that to say that I don't have moments of overwhelm, right? But that's not my constant, right? That's not my constant. I don't tolerate that for myself. I don't allow that for myself. But earlier on in my business, right? And so that's the whole like premise behind financial freedom, right? Because when you have financial freedom, you get to work as much as you choose to, right? So you're working because you choose to and not because you have to. And that also makes working feel very different. But when you work for yourself and you're truly passionate and you love what you do, it never feels like work. So you can work those additional hours. And because you love it and because you're passionate about it, it doesn't feel like work, right? But to share the perspective, right? Because there does take a certain level of time, focus, energy, and dedication to build that. And depending on how quickly you want to build that, it's going to take more time, energy, and dedication on the front end than on the back end. So when I first went to grad school, this was, and I was my career in neurosurgery. I was a physician assistant, not an MD. So I was a physician. Wow, I can't even speak. Physician assistant certified in neurosurgery for 10 years. Which, in fact, though, because we did first assist the surgeons in the operating room. So yes, I have actually drilled holes in people's heads. Thankfully, I don't have to do that anymore. Right now, I get to do mind surgery, no scalpels or anesthesia required. So it's completely painless, completely safe, very fun and easy for you. So that's much better, right? But at the time, that was what I did for a long time. But when I first was making that decision, I'll just walk you through that decision making process. When I was first making that decision to go to grad school, at the time, and it was something I always wanted to do, but there was a break in between undergrad and grad school for me, because towards the end of undergrad, my father passed away. And so I just gave myself a little bit of time so that I could kind of heal and recover a bit and refocus and really get clear on what I was going to go to grad school for, because at the time I didn't know. And so when I started doing research of deciding, okay, well, what is it that I like to do? Because that was, hey, Mo Rock, because that was one of my goals. Even at that time, when I was making that decision to go to grad school, one of my goals was, I want to wake up every day and love what I do. And so when I was making that decision, I was like, okay, well, what do I love to do? You called me, I know, and I was going to call you back after this. So you made me lose my train of thought talking about phone calls. So anyway, so grad school, what the heck was I saying? It'll come back to me. Oh yeah, the decision-making process. So what did I like to do? I like to help people, right? I like to help people. And so I started looking into different careers in medicine, because that was the only thing that was the only path that I knew back then. I think it's important that I say that. I didn't know there was another way. Education, higher education was the only path to higher levels of earning and higher levels of success that I knew at the time. And so that was the route. But I made that decision, and at the time, I knew there was nothing else that I could do, and in 2 years' time, double to triple my salary. that was my decision making process. There's nothing else that I could possibly do for 2 years, double to triple my salary, and wake up every day and do what I love. Right. And so when I left medicine, I had a very similar thought process for myself. I knew that if I put the same level of time, energy, focus, and dedication into my business in the first 2 years, meaning if I made a little bit of sacrifice, because those 2 years that I was in grad school, I breathed, eat, slept, PA school, right? There was nothing else. Okay, there was a little bit of partying, a little bit, but not much. Like legit, we had tests. I don't even, it was the most stressful time of my life. Legit, hands down. I had never in my life experienced anxiety until I was in PA school because there were so many freaking tests. I felt like it was almost every day there was a test. So you couldn't work outside of PA school. You literally, that was it. You breathed, you slept, and you ate PA school, and that was about it for 2 years. And so because I had done that, right, because I had that experience, albeit a very stressful one, but I knew the time, focus, energy, and dedication piece of it. I knew that I could reproduce without the stress, right? Without the overwhelm. I knew that I could produce that. So what I knew was if I put that same level of time, focus, energy, and dedication into the first 2 years of my business when I was starting out, that I would in fact have the foundation of what I knew was possible for my business and for my lifestyle, right? For my financial life and for my lifestyle. And so that is just one of the reasons that I'm so incredibly passionate about what I do in the world, because financial freedom and success was not my past. That was not where I started. That was not where I came from. I come from extraordinarily humble beginnings. And I worked, right? I worked to get to where I am. So nothing was ever served up to me on a silver platter. I did, put in the time, put in the work. And so that's the thing about success, right? Is it's the people who are willing to do now what most people won't, to have down the road what most people never will. So you have to ask that question. Are you willing to do now what most people won't, to have in the future what most people never will? And that was a hell yes for me. That was a hell yes for me, because I knew where I came from, right? The working the 60 to 80 hours a week, making a six-figure salary, and having no financial intelligence, no investing, poor choices with my money, living paycheck to paycheck. And that's hard. That's hard. That's embarrassing to admit, right? You think you go to school like you're basically a freaking brain surgeon and you can't manage your effing finances. They don't teach us that in school, right? They don't teach you that stuff in school. So depending on what was modeled for you at home, you don't learn it, right? A lot of times there's a lot of things in life that you don't learn unless you choose to. So that was a shift for me when I made a shift in medicine from working those 60 to 80 hours a week. I mean, I woke up one day and I was just like, Jessa, what the F are you doing? This isn't life. This isn't living. What are you doing? So I knew something had to change. And I had this sense that my life was supposed to be going in a different direction. I had no clue what that was at the time. Zero, literally zero clue. I just knew it was supposed to be going in a different direction. And I made a shift. I had an epiphany that basically happened after one of those, this was more like an 80 to 100-hour work week. I had worked 8 days straight and pretty much 12 to 12 plus hours a day. And I was on call at least 4 of the nights during that 8 day stretch. Which in neurosurgery, when you're on call for the hospitals, that pretty much means you're not getting a whole lot of sleep. So needless to say, after 8 days of that, I was tired and stressed and overwhelmed, but that was pretty much my that was pretty much my entire life at that point. But after 6 years of it, I had kind of reached a breaking point. And I remember coming home after that 8 day stretch, falling to my knees in tears and praying to my significant other who had passed away and saying, I need your help. I need your guidance. I know my life is supposed to be going in a different direction. I have no clue what that is. I need your help. I need your guidance. And within 48 hours, I had my answer, which was to start doing contract work as a PA, which was something that he did as a physician prior to him passing away. And I couldn't believe that I had forgotten about it because it was something that I wanted to do right out of school, but I couldn't because I needed experience. And then by the time I had the experience, he passed away only a year into my career in neurosurgery. So by the time I had the experience, I was post him passing away and was just so like on the hamster wheel in neurosurgery that I hadn't thought about it in years. So I made that change. And that allowed me to go from working 60 to 80 hours a week to only working 12 days a month, 14 days a month. So 2 weeks out of the month. So I went from working 60 to 80 hours a week to only working 14 days a month. Hello. And making almost twice the pay, which was a pretty darn good deal. That was a pretty darn good deal. And so I was excited because I was like, okay, my financial life is going to change. But then it didn't. Until it didn't. So oftentimes that tends to be what happens, right? Is your income goes up and your expenses go up. So the income goes up, the expenses goes up. That doesn't, so the amount in the bank is not going up, right? So that was, and that was the case for me. So after a short period of time of that and realizing that I was, I knew I was making a lot more money and realizing that I was not in a better place financially. And that was when I really got pissed off and fed up with myself. And I was like, okay, enough is enough. Like something has to change. And I had started focusing on abundance in my yoga practice. And, but I did give myself a year of reprieve. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to give myself a year of reprieve of enjoying having these 2 weeks off every month, because that was the first time I had had a reprieve like that in over 10 years. So I did give myself a year to really just live and enjoy and travel and do some things. And then I was like, all right, we're going to get back on, back on the success train. Excuse me. And this is where I ended up, which was not what I would have expected. And I'll share more about that part of my story and my journey another time, perhaps tomorrow if you all would like. But I've been going for 23 minutes and I haven't given you the tip yet, so I don't want to go for too much longer. So the recap, remember I said I talked a little bit last week about eliminating the word TRY from your vocabulary, right? There is no TRY. You do or do not do. You choose to or choose not to. And last night I was talking about shifting your language pattern from something that you want, right? Instead of wanting something to something that you choose to have. And the reason for that is because wanting doesn't equal having. And my quick example I always give of that is like, my question is would you rather want your dream car or would you rather have your dream car? Now, personally, I don't know about you, but I prefer to have these things, not want them, right? So that's the shift there. And the one that I have for you tonight is a lot of fun because, again, these things are subtle, but they're extremely powerful and extremely valuable because, right, because of how valuable and powerful your mind is. And I didn't pick up on this one for a very, very long time. So let's see, when was that? Oh gosh, there were several years ago. I went to this event of Oprah's many years ago, and at the event, um, one of the things that Oprah would say is she would say, "I can, I will, watch me." And I was like, "Yeah, okay, Oprah, I'm with it. I'm here for it, right? I can, I will, watch me." And I'm pretty confident that I had that written on post-it notes and had it up on multiple places in my home for quite some time. And then I had the realization as I got deeper into my studies of the mind, right now from a very different perspective than the neurosurgical perspective, right? So that's that shift from understanding the mind from a very physical perspective to then understanding the actual inner workings of the mind and how you utilize that to make your success and your financial success and financial freedom inevitable. So that's powerful language, right? That is powerful language. You can, in fact, use your mind to make anything that you choose to have absolutely inevitable for yourself. So, so with the can, I will, watch me. Be careful. This one is be mindful of using I will. Be very mindful of using the language I will, because I will basically is the perception that something is off in the future, right? So when you say I will do something, I will is off in the future. I will is not in the now. So for example, if you say I will learn how to become financially free. I will start another business, or I will start a business. Okay, well, it sounds really convincing, right? I will start a business. Okay, cool, right? I will become financially free. Okay, cool. When? 6 months from now? 6 years from now? 60 years from now? Like, I will when? So you're basically giving your brain an escape route, and you're keeping that dream, goal, or desire off in the future. When you say I will do something, you're putting that thing off in the future. Now, I don't know about you, but I prefer to have those dreams, bring those dreams, goals, and desires into the now, right? Not have them be off in the future. So the shift that I made to the Oprah saying, I can, I will, watch me, is I can, I am, watch me. Because there's a big difference between saying I am going to do something, right? I am going to start a business next month. I am going to start learning how to invest next month, right? I'm going to start learning how to invest now, right? Why even put it off in the future period, right? Now. I'm going to do this now, not I will do this. I mean, I will do this. You might as well put it up on the shelf for a couple of years and let it collect dust, right? I mean, that's essentially what happens when you say I will. I will, yeah, like I will get around to it. It's up on the shelf, collecting dust, right? So again, that shift, right? That shift is I am, right? I am doing this, and I am doing it now. I am starting now. I am starting now. Because you have to start. You have to start. The only true way to fail is to never begin or to quit. So as long as you start and you keep going, you will succeed. As long as you start and as long as you keep going, you will succeed. Now, there's a whole lot of things you can do in between to make that easier and faster, of course, right? But people often get hung up on failure. And I myself did in the beginning too. I never could decide, is it failure that I'm afraid of? Is it actually the fear of failure, or is it actually the fear of success? Like which one of those two things am I more afraid of? And I think ultimately it was the fear of success more so than the fear of failure. And I have a philosophy about that. This is my own personal philosophy about that. But I believe, right, because your brain is your body is very innately wired to avoid pain and seek pleasure. Your biology, right, is actually designed for that. Avoid pain, seek pleasure. Avoid pain, seek pleasure. But I think that this is just my personal philosophy, and kind of based on my own experience. And I feel like that society has sort of created this, um, paradigm is the best word that I use for it, where the fear of failure is there because there's anticipation of pain. There's anticipation of pain. So societally, it's like you come to expect something to be pain, right? Like I was talking about earlier, you think something's going to be hard. The societal driven perception of success is that you have to work really hard. I'd rather work really smart. So in that similar fashion, right? I completely lost my train of thought again. Woo! Going live, and that is my brain being tired. I think, oh, failure, success. Okay, circle back. Woo! Circle back, Justice. Circle back. So I really think that societally the perception has gotten to that place of really almost that the pain is expected rather than the pleasure, right? The pain and the possibility of failure is expected rather than the pleasure and the possibility of success. And the truth is, I mean, if you're a statistics person, right? I'm not a gambling woman, but I'm okay with some science and some math, right? Give me some science and some math. Well, statistically, there's a 50% chance either way. So if you like statistics and you're like, okay, well, if I have a 50% chance of failing and screwing it up, and I have a 50% chance of succeeding, right? So if there's a 50% chance I might fail and it might be temporarily painful, or if there's a 50% chance that I might have some pleasure and have some greater success, like which do I choose? Right? Which do I choose? So when you really break it down, you're like, okay, well, I'd rather choose my shot at success and pleasure. But fear can really, really keep you stuck. And I've been there, so I get it. But the thing about failure is again, remember, like you can't actually fail as long as you start and you never quit. As long as you start and you never quit. So I like to actually embrace failure, because the thing is no one who has achieved really profound levels of success um, has done so without failing. No one. No one in the history of mankind has achieved really, really high levels of success without failing. And so the perception around failure just has to be shifted. And so the way I started looking at failure for myself is I was like, you know what? I was like, if I am willing, if I can embrace failure, and if I am willing to feel the fear and do it anyway, and embrace the possibility of failure, because ultimately failure is just it's an opportunity, right? The perceived failure is simply an opportunity for you to do better next time. And so what that means is that if you are willing to consistently fail forward, the only possible outcome is success. The only possible outcome is success. If you are willing to consistently fail forward, the only possible outcome is success. That's it. So, right? So similar to, so I was talking about this the other night too, right? So success and financial freedom, these things are simple. These things are simple, but they're not easy because your brain has been wired in a different way, right? So the work is, right? The work is optimizing your mind and leveraging 100% of this incredibly valuable, incredibly powerful $27 billion asset you already own. It's already yours. I just want to give you access to it, to all of it. And I know that a lot of these things that I talk about, they seem very subtle, they seem very small, they seem very nuanced. And my favorite thing with that is, and I actually, this was one that I learned recently from one of my mentors that I hadn't heard previously, which is small hinges swing big doors. Small hinges swing big doors. That is all. I think that's a great place to stop. I can't believe I managed to talk for 36 minutes tonight. I totally meant to talk for like 15 or 20 minutes. But that is, oh, hi there. Hi, Ka. Hi. I can only see your Ka underscore. I wish I knew people's names. I'm going to start encouraging people, if I don't know your name, if I can't tell by what your Instagram name is, I'm going to start encouraging people to put their name in the comments for me, cuz I love talking to you by name if I can, and I never want to butcher somebody based on what their Instagram handle is, because that might be your name, it might not be. Sometimes it's an abbreviation and I don't know what that means. So anyways, I wish you an incredibly peaceful and prosperous evening or morning if you happen to be on the other side of the world. And tomorrow is what? Tomorrow's Thursday. So I will be live with you at some point tomorrow. These nighttime lives have kind of become a thing that was not necessarily my intention. Remember, you can catch the replays on my YouTube channel. If you ever want to watch, like if you ever wanted to go back and rewatch tonight, you'll be able to find that on my YouTube channel. You can also catch my vlog on my YouTube channel. That is the Peaceful Billionaire Mission to Billions vlog. So that is my transparent behind the scenes journey, the highs, the lows of what is going on with me and what is required internally and externally on my success journey to the next level. And let's see, what else? Oh, and I will be live on Friday at 11:30 Eastern. Friday at 11:30 Eastern. If you can be here, you have the opportunity to pick my brain, ask any questions, bring your questions. I will answer all of your questions. And so you can pick my brain and also celebrate your wins. So no matter how big or small, if you've had a small or big win, if you've implemented one of these tools and you're starting to notice some change, you do have to implement them for them to work, right? You have to actually use them in order for them to create change for you and to work for you. So you can share your wins and get celebrated. I will celebrate you. Everyone else on the call is going to celebrate you. Why? Why do I love to celebrate, right? Because again, let it be easy, let it be fun, but also what gets celebrated gets replicated. And so I will be there live on Friday at 11:30 Eastern to celebrate wins with you and for you to pick my brain. Hey, Tyler, you just hopped on at the end. Oh, hey, Bliss. Okay, welcome. You hopped on at the end. I've been live for 40 minutes, so you're catching the very tail end of me saying good night. I always feel obligated to stay on and keep talking, but I feel like everybody else who's been here for the entire 40 minutes is going to be like, no, please stop talking. No, I'm kidding. But anyways, So if you missed this, if you just dropped on, thank you so much, Buck. If you just hopped on and you missed it, please do catch the replay on YouTube. The other benefit to YouTube is you can always, you know, increase the speed so you can watch it in a shorter period of time. But I'm always grateful for everyone who is here live with me. So again, have a prosperous and peaceful evening. I will see you tomorrow, and I will see you Friday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. Bye for now. Bye for now. Bye for now.